Of course, Bertie, being in the public eye, it comes with its highs and lows. How did you cope and channel like any criticism you would have gotten throughout your career?
Well, I think in politics you probably get thick-skinned and you don't listen to too much of it.
You have to be that way.
You have to be, otherwise I don't think you'd survive, And I mean, there are journalists that you read and journalists you don't read. Journalists you listen to and programs you listen to and don't listen to. And probably the best advice is don't read much and don't listen to much. Far safer. And I practice that most of the time. No, I think you just have to get on with it. I mean, because it's a profession that whether you go A or B, you lose. Because somebody isn't happy, and it is impossible to make 50% happy at any one occasion.
Yeah.
And absolutely impossible to make 100% happy. So you have to work on the basis of do your best and take criticism. And like anybody in any business or any career, there's a certain amount of it which you take and you say, well, you deserve that.
Yeah.
And then there's a large amount of it you say, you take and you say, I definitely didn't deserve that. But you have to get on with it, because if you allowed it to get in on you, you wouldn't do your job. I mean, you wouldn't go out in the morning. And I always worked on the basis, you're in this job for so long, you have an opportunity to make a difference, an opportunity to influence things. You just do your best. And if you were to listen to the criticism, you wouldn't do anything. So you're better off to be damned for doing something than not.
And as I said before, you're a keen sports fan, and you take a keen involvement in our national sport, the Gaelic and rugby and soccer, and you're also heavily involved in the Whitehall Club just up the road, Home Farm. So tell us about that. Yeah,
I've been involved in sport since I was a kid. I was looking. My father was a hurling man. He was from Cork, and from the hurling end of Cork. I came to Dublin in the late 20s, never went back. My mother was from the football end of Cork on the Kerry border. So we were brought up, obviously, and my father was a good handballer, so had to go with about everything. And where I was lucky, my father was in charge of the grounds and farm in All Hallows College, which used to be big in those days. So they're fantastic sports facilities. So we were able to have a go at everything. So we probably played everything in masters and nothing. And then I played with Home Farm from the time I was in the street leagues. From the end of the 50s, when I was 8 years. You weren't allowed to join until you were 10 that time, but the street leagues were 8. And then I was associated with them for years, and then with Drumcondra Football Club and Hampton Football Club. So, I was involved in sport, and then played with Whitehall Columkills in Gaelic. So we were involved in sport all the way through. My brother Morris was a really successful cross-country runner.
So sporting family.
Yeah, my sisters were really good tennis players. So we're at this age we're all crocked from sports injuries.
Had you not have become a politician, Bertie, what career path would you have seen?
Well, I was an accountant by profession. I worked in the Mater Hospital. I was accountant. I was cost and management accountant at the Mater Hospital. And then I was head of the project team for the redevelopment of the Mater Hospital. So I loved that, and I did all the cost analysis work for the new Mater Private back in those days. So that was the game, and I loved that. And it was a really big decision I had to make at the beginning of the 80s, whether I'd stay with the accountancy and with the hospital work, or whether I'd go into politics. And I was offered the chief executive of the Mater Private back in 1980 for a 20,000 plus a car, or to run for re-election for a TD at 6,901, and I probably stupidly thought just to run for politician. So you make a decision and you live with it.
Yeah. And what does the future hold for you, Bertie? Or have you ever had a notion to get back into mainstream politics, or are you happy enough?
No, I'm happy enough. I spend most of my time now involved in conflict resolution, the same kind of stuff as I was involved with in the north, and when I was involved with as a minister I've just finishing up a project in Papua New Guinea on their peace process. Hopefully finished at Easter. 23,000 people died in their conflict, so it's been a really eye opener. It's but we've had a lot of success there, working with the United Nations, working with really good people on the ground in Papua New Guinea. It's a country of 10 million people, and the conflict was on one end of it. But I've also worked in the Ukraine, and I've worked on the Turkey peace process. I spent 5 or 6 years on the Basque peace process. So that's what I do myself nowadays. And the trouble is with conflicts, there's so many of them. I could be traveling non-stop, and last year, I went to the other side of the world 5 times. So it's tough. I love the work, but it's 80 hours travel round trip. 40 there, 40 back. So that I don't like. But there's conflicts everywhere, and I try to pick a few that I'm engaged with and involved with, and it's very interesting because you're actually doing something real, and if you can end something or bring something, but it's also very difficult because sometimes you're dealing with impossible people, and but so far so good. We've had some successes, and you're dealing with the likes of Erdogan in Turkey, or Putin in Russia. Handy fellas to deal with. So it's interesting, and you'll never get bored.
Thank you very much for today, Bertie. Very insightful interview into Northern Ireland, Bertie Ahern, and a little bit about yourself and what you're up to now. Bertie Ahern.